A deserted road. At night. You're driving. It's dark. Maybe you're humming a song to yourself. Suddenly, a flash of blue and red lights in your rearview mirror. Your chest tightens, doesn't it? It's an instinct we all have. We think we've gone over the speed limit or broken a traffic law. We pull over. We roll down the window. We believe that the man in uniform is there to protect us. He's the law. He represents security. But what if there's someone behind that uniform whose purpose is not to protect? What if that shiny badge is just part of an act? The biggest fear isn't a ghost or a spirit. The biggest fear is a betrayal of trust. It happens when you realize that the person you open the door to, thinking he's helping you, is actually the biggest nightmare of your life. In today's video, I'll tell you 3 true stories from the United States that will make your hands tremble with fear the next time you see a police car on the road. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, because these stories are not fictional. The first incident took place on a deserted road in Arizona. The year was 2009. It was almost 2 in the morning. As night fell on the Arizona desert, an eerie silence descended. Michael's old Ford kept making a constant rhythmic noise. He was very sleepy, but he knew he couldn't stop. There was only darkness for miles, with the occasional shadow of a cactus dancing like a ghost in the headlights. Suddenly, a bright light caught Michael's eye. From behind, blue, red, blue, red. Michael looked at his watch. There was no one else on the road this late. His speedometer was fine. He hadn't broken any rules. Still, who would dare disobey a policeman's orders? He slowly lowered the car onto the dusty shoulder of the road. The headlights behind him were so intense that Michael couldn't see anything. All he saw was a shadow, a tall man, slowly approaching his car. The sound of heavy boots on gravel. Michael rolled down the window. "Good evening, officer," he said. His throat was dry. The man was wearing a highway patrol uniform, aviator sunglasses on his eyes, even though it was pitch black. The man didn't say anything. He just leaned in and peered into the car. His face was expressionless, cold as stone. "License and registration," the man said. His voice was strange, mechanical, as if he were reading lines from a script. As Michael pulled out his wallet, he noticed the officer's fingers tapping gently on the steering wheel. "May I know why I was stopped?" Michael asked. The officer smiled, but the smile didn't reach the corners of his eyes. Only his lips parted. "Your taillight is broken, sir. Would you get out of the car and step back a little? I want to show you." A warning bell rang in Michael's mind. Taillight broken? He had checked everything before he left. "I can tell from here, officer. I'll fix it in the morning," Michael said. The officer's smile faded. He leaned closer to the window, so close that Michael could smell him. Sweat, old leather, and a strange, wild smell. Not alcohol, but something like stale meat. "Sir, I told you to get out of the car, now." The voice was no longer a request. It was a veiled threat. Michael pretended to unbuckle his seatbelt. His hands were shaking. He peered through the rearview mirror. The car behind him. There were no license plates, no logo, just a light bar anyone could buy. And the dashboard was completely dark. Michael's breath caught. This wasn't a police car. "Sir." The man reached for the door handle. Michael's brain stopped working, but his body acted on instinct. Without a moment's thought, he shifted gears and stepped hard on the accelerator. The car screamed and lurched forward. From behind, an inhuman roar echoed in the night. Michael drove at about 100 miles per hour. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. He kept glancing in the mirror. Was he following? After a while, the headlights flashed again in the distance. The man was coming. A terrible game of cat and mouse began. The car behind him was getting closer, then moving back, as if it was playing with him, hunting him. About 20 minutes later, Michael saw the lights of a gas station. He somehow pulled the car in. There was a real state trooper parked there. As Michael got out of the car, teeth clenched. The fake police car sped past on the highway without slowing down. But before he left, Michael looked at the driver for a split second. The man was smiling and waving, as if to say, "See you later." The police investigated, but the car and the man were never found again. Michael still doesn't drive on the highway at night. He still can't forget that strange smell and that lifeless look in his eyes. Highway fear is one thing. You get a chance to escape. But when fear knocks on your door, when there is no escape. The second incident took place in a quiet suburban area of Columbus, Ohio. Jessica was home alone. Her husband David was out of town on business. It was raining heavily outside. Raindrops were pelting the window panes, and the house was shaking with the occasional rumble of thunder. It was 11 p.m. Jessica was sitting on the couch reading a book when there was a knock at the door. Jessica was startled. Who could it be at this time of night? She thought it might be a neighbor. She went to the door and peeked through the peephole. A police officer was standing outside, wearing a raincoat, a hat, and holding a flashlight. His face was obscured by the rain. "Who is it?" Jessica asked. "Ma'am, I'm with the Columbus Police Department. Officer Reynolds," the man said. His voice was deep and calm. "We've received reports that a fugitive has escaped from the area. He's very dangerous. We believe he may be hiding in your backyard." Jessica's chest heaved. "What are you saying?" "Yes, ma'am. For your safety, I want to check the house. Would you please open the door?" Jessica was about to grab the handle, but something stopped her. Her husband, David, always said, "Don't open the door if you don't know anyone, no matter who they are." "Can you show me your badge?" Jessica asked. The man pulled a badge from his pocket and held it up to the peephole, but the badge looked very ordinary. And in the light of the flashlight, Jessica noticed something strange. Sneakers. White, muddy sneakers. Police officers always wear heavy boots on duty, especially not on a rainy night. A cold shiver ran down Jessica's spine. "Officer," Jessica said, her voice trembling. "Can I call the police station and confirm?" Silence for a moment, just the sound of the rain. Then, the man's tone changed. That calm, professional tone was gone. "Ma'am, you don't need to call. I'm right here. Don't waste time. Open the door now." This time, it wasn't an order. There was anger in his voice. Jessica stepped back. "I'm calling 911. Suddenly, the doorknob shook violently. The man began to push from the outside. "Open the door! I said open the door!" the man shouted. His voice no longer sounded human. It was like the roar of a wild animal. Jessica ran to the kitchen, her hands shaking. She dialed 911. "Please come quickly. There's a man dressed as a police officer trying to break in." The dispatcher tried to calm her down. "Ma'am, we're sending officers. Go to the bathroom and lock the door." Jessica ran into the bathroom and locked it. She could hear the front door being broken into, heavy banging on wood. She sat down on the floor, pressing her hands over her ears. Every second felt like an hour. About 5 minutes later, suddenly, sirens were heard. Real sirens. The banging outside stopped. Then the sound of people running away. When the police arrived, they found the front door lock almost broken, and a muddy handprint on the door. But the most terrifying thing they found was in the backyard. There was no fugitive suspect there, but there was a bag. The bag contained rope, duct tape, a sharp hunting knife, and a picture of Jessica's husband crossed out in red ink. The man knew Jessica was alone. He wasn't some random thief. He targeted Jessica. The police never caught him. There was no officer named Officer Reynolds with the Columbus Police Department. Jessica couldn't live in that house anymore. She still freezes in fear when she hears a knock on the door on a rainy night. The last story is perhaps the most uncomfortable because there is no escape. There's a trap, a slowly closing trap. Winter, 2015, a snowy road in Montana. Sarah, a college student, was returning from the library. Her car was old. And a dead battery? That was common in the Montana winter. Far out of town, on a deserted road, her car suddenly stopped. All around was ice and darkness. The temperature was below freezing. Sarah couldn't get a signal on her phone. She tried to turn on the heater, but it wouldn't work. The cold was getting to her bones. About half an hour later, 2 headlights came piercing through the darkness. A police cruiser. Sarah breathed a sigh of relief. Thank God. The car stopped next to her. A middle-aged officer rolled down the window, a smile on his face. Is there something wrong with the car, ma'am? Yeah, it won't start, and my phone won't charge, Sarah said. Don't worry. It's not safe to sit here in this cold. Come on, I'll drop you off at a garage out front. They'll send a tow truck to get the car. Sarah didn't hesitate. She quickly grabbed her bag and climbed into the back seat of the police car. The car was quite warm inside, but there was a strange smell, a mixture of old cigarettes and hard mint chewing gum, and no radio. Police cars usually always have the dispatch radio on. It was pin-drop silence here. The car started moving. Sarah noticed that the officer wasn't heading toward town, but toward the forest road. Officer, the garage is toward town, Sarah said. The officer looked in the rearview mirror. His eyes were shining in the darkness. I know a shortcut. Don't worry. Sarah remained silent, but a knot of unease began to form in her stomach. She grabbed the door handle. Locked. Of course, the back door of a police car couldn't be opened from the inside. That was normal. But right now, that normal thing felt like a death trap to Sarah. What's your name? The officer asked. Sarah. A beautiful name. My daughter's name was Sarah, too, the officer said softly. She used to scream a lot. I didn't like her at all. Sarah's blood ran cold. Was, and screamed. Officer, please stop the car. I'll get out here. The officer stopped laughing. He began humming a song, very slowly. Hush, little baby. Don't say a word. The car had now left the asphalt road and was descending onto a dirt road, thick forest on either side, the wheels crunching on the snow. Sarah began to scream. She punched the window. Put me down, I said stop. The man didn't react. He just turned up the volume on the music player. No music, just static. Sarah realized that this man wasn't a cop. This car was probably stolen. He was like a rat in a cage. Suddenly, the car stopped with a jolt, stuck in the mud. The man stepped on the accelerator, but the car wouldn't move. He muttered a curse. He unbuckled his seatbelt and took a hammer from under the dashboard. Sarah froze in fear. The man opened the door and got out. He was coming towards the back door. Sarah knew this was her last chance. She took out the pepper spray from her bag, clutching it tight. He opened the door, the cold wind, and the man's awkward face. Come on, Sarah. We're here. As the man raised his hand, Sarah sprayed the pepper spray into his eyes with all her might. The man screamed. The hammer fell. He covered his eyes and collapsed onto the snow. Sarah didn't hesitate a moment. She jumped out and ran into the forest darkness. Behind her, the man was shouting, "I'll find you. You can't go anywhere." Sarah hid in that snowy forest all night. A lumberjack rescued her the next morning. The police later found the stuck car. What they found in the trunk of the car was not made public. It is only known that Sarah was not the first girl to get into that car, but she was the only one who managed to return alive. We learn from childhood that the police are our friends, but the real world is complicated. Predators know that the easiest way to catch prey is to wear a mask of trust. The next time a blue light flashes behind your car on a deserted road, or an officer knocks on your door late at night, think twice. Take a good look. Is the badge real? Or is this a predator waiting for you? Be careful. Because the creatures of the dark no longer just live in the shadows. They sometimes come in uniform. If these incidents sent a shiver down your spine, give the video a like. Tell us in the comments, have you ever faced a similar situation? And don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more bone-chilling true horror stories. See you in the next video. Until then, be careful. Did you lock the door?